Hi friends, welcome back to my channel Learn with Preeti Bedi. I have already done some videos on IELTS where I have talked about vocabulary for IELTS. I have discussed the differences between paper-based versus computer-based IELTS. I have also done a video where I have busted myths about IELTS. So if you haven't watched those videos, you can watch them after this video. I received many queries on my Instagram regarding IELTS reading, so I decided to make this video. Well, this video is more about how I scored a perfect 9 in IELTS reading. Honestly speaking, the first time when I took the IELTS exam, I scored a 6.5 band in IELTS reading, and I was quite disappointed. So I decided to retake the exam specifically to improve my IELTS reading score. And guess what? I scored a perfect 9 in the second exam. I followed few tips that I'm going to share with you in this video so that you can also improve your score in IELTS reading. So let's begin the video. But before that, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Click on the bell icon button so that you don't miss any of my future videos, and hit the like button. Let's begin the video. So the first tip that I'm going to talk about is practice. We all know that to get better at reading, we must practice as much as we can. Remember one thing, no one can teach you how to read and comprehend a passage. It all depends upon you. But the secret tip here is, don't just stick to IELTS sample papers. Read something that you like. If you're a fitness freak, you can read a fitness magazine. If you love fashion, you can read blogs or books related to fashion. Read anything that is of your interest. This way, you will not get bored while reading, and slowly and gradually, you will get better at reading. Trust me, when you read something that interests you, you get into the habit of reading in a better way rather than just reading the sample papers related to IELTS. I understand that practicing sample papers is important, but just to improve your reading habit, you must read something that interests you. Well, this trick worked really well for me. I started reading some story books, and I used to write down those new words which build up my own vocabulary. Now this leads to our second tip. Whenever you're reading something new, you definitely come across new words. So try to note them down in a notepad or a notebook and try to find their meanings. And once in a day, just go back to these words and just read them. Just give them a read. Don't memorize them. Just read them every day. Slowly and gradually, you will build up your own vocabulary. So you're getting better at reading, plus you're building your own vocabulary. The two tips that work for a high score in IELTS reading. Let's move on to the next tip. So our third tip is as important as the first two. It is about time management. Yes, managing your time is of utmost importance in the IELTS reading exam, because in 60 minutes you have to go through 3 passages, you have 40 questions to solve, and you do not get any extra time to transfer your answers to the answer sheet. So the best way to overcome the stress of those 60 minutes is to do a timed practice. Whenever you are practicing sample papers for IELTS reading, try and set a timer of 50 minutes, yes, 50 minutes, and try your best to complete the test paper in those 50 minutes. You might not be able to do it in the first go or the second go, but eventually with practice, I'm sure you'll be able to do it. This way, when you're left with 7 to 10 minutes at the end of the test paper, you can always go back and check your answers, and sometimes if you have to leave a question, you can always go back to that question in those last 7 to 10 minutes. So manage your time wisely. So our tip number 4 is, don't stick to one question. If at all you are stuck at one question, just leave it for the time being. Don't forget that you have a time limit, and if you get stuck at one question and you spend way too long time, you might miss on the other questions as well. So it's better to leave that question for the time being, move on to do other questions. And as I mentioned in the previous point, if you have practiced well to finish your exam in 50 to 55 minutes, you will have extra 5 to 10 minutes at the end of the test paper. You can always come back to such questions in those last 5 to 10 minutes. So don't stick to one question for too long. Our tip number 5 is almost similar to tip number 1 and 2 about practicing. Remember, the words in the question and passage will not be same always. You have to practice to find out the keywords in the question and look for the synonyms in the passage to find out the answer. And if you're able to do that, tada, you found the answer. And that comes with practice. So practice is definitely the key. Tip number 6 is to read the instructions carefully. In the passage, sometimes it is mentioned to give your answer in not more than 2 words or not more than 3 words. So make sure you have read the instructions carefully and you write the answer accordingly in how many words you have to write the answer. Also, sometimes it is mentioned that you have to write yes or no, and many people are habitual of writing true or false instead of yes or no. So that also makes your answer wrong. So make sure you have read the instructions carefully before answering your question. Moving on to the tip number 7, which is the last tip for the day. You have to find out your own technique. Yes, not one technique works for all. I find it more comfortable to read the questions first, then read the passage and find out the answers. Many people might find it comfortable to read the passage first, then read the questions and find out the answers. So you have to work it out for yourself by practicing well. The more you practice, the better you get. Okay, I have a bonus tip for you, which is the spellings matter. Yes, when you write your answers on the answer sheet, make sure that you write the correct spellings, because even if your answer is correct but you have spelled it wrong, you will lose marks. So make sure your spellings are correct. So I wish you good luck for your exam. I hope you do well. Do let me know in the comment sections what you feel about this video, and if you have any questions, I will definitely answer all your questions. Don't forget to share this video and keep coming back to my channel for more learning videos. I will see you in the next video.